How to legally set up your real estate wholesaling business. In today's video, I'm going to break down exactly for you the legal steps that you should do to set up your real estate wholesaling business. Now, this is not going to be a lawyer speaks video. Again, guys, I'm not a lawyer, CPA, tax professional. I'm only here to give you guidance on how to legally set up your real estate wholesaling business so you could pay the least amount of taxes possible, how to legally protect your deals from greedy cash buyers or other wholesalers, know if you need a corporation or an LLC, or how you can actually wholesale without an LLC, and lastly, overall, how to make sure you're as legally protected as possible as a real estate wholesaler. Because honestly, the last thing you want to do, especially as an 18-year-old kid, is be sued for something stupid you did in real estate wholesaling. So guys, in this video, I'm going to show you all the legal stuff and really how to legally set everything up depending on your income and how much money you're making in your real estate wholesaling business so you can make the most amount of money possible. Whoa. Before I get into it, before I share with you exactly how to legally set up your real estate wholesaling business, I could potentially save you tens of thousands of dollars. If you can, please smash that like button and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. More people can see this content so they don't have to go to some real estate wholesaling tax guru seminar to save all this money. Again, go seek a tax professional, but you don't have to see a seminar to really understand this stuff. So analysis paralysis, in my opinion, really stops a lot of real estate wholesalers from creating LLCs or corporations, and they're not saving a lot of money, and they could be potentially paying thousands of dollars over of what they really should if they seek this advice. So let's get into it without further ado. How's it going? Zach Ginn here. Again, I'm going to say this a million times. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a tax professional, CPA. So now we got the disclaimer out there. Everyone knows I'm not a lawyer, tax professional guy. Now we can get in the nitty gritty here. So this is just my basis and my advice. So legally setting up your real estate wholesaling business. Now, most of us real estate wholesalers, we're not big legal junkies. We're not the best when it learns to paying the least amount of taxes. And we're honestly not the best at that situation. We're really good at making income and wholesaling real estate. But I think this video, it might not be the most popular video I ever make, but I think it's one of the most important ones out there, because if you're making $100,000 a year in real estate wholesaling and you're not taking some of the tax advantages that are out there for you to save $20,000 off your taxes, you need to watch you need to watch this whole video. And if you're making $20,000, $30,000, sometimes you don't even need an LLC, and I can show you exactly what you can do so you can legally wholesale without the LLC. So overall, in this video, I'm just going to make you as legally protected possible in your real estate wholesaling business. So first thing, probably one of the most asked questions I get is, Zach, do I need an LLC, or do I need to start or create an LLC for my real estate wholesaling business? And I hate to say it, but I'm going to say this a million times. It depends. So if you're starting out in real estate wholesaling, you do not need an LLC or an S corporation or a C corporation. You can just wholesale in your actual name. So on the contract, you'll just write, Zach Ginn agrees to buy this property from Sally Sue, and you can wholesale it at the end. At the title company, you'll just get a check in your personal name, and you're probably going to have to pay full taxes on it. And yes, it's a lot of money compared if you did an LLC and things like that. But if it's just one deal, it's not really the end of the world. But once you start getting a little more income, you might want to think to get an LLC. And let me tell you why. So overall, I created a little chart for you. This is just off of my experience in the state of Florida. If you live outside of Florida, it's a little different because you guys have state income tax. In sunny Florida, there's no state income tax. Humble brag right there. So overall, if you want to do your first deal or two, I would say don't get an LLC first. An LLC is really when you start making it a real business. A lot of people treat wholesaling as maybe get 1-2 deals a year, and honestly, it's not worth the hassle of creating the LLC. But once you start creating it in a legitimate business, let's say you got 2 deals and you're ready to go 3, 4, 5 and scale up, and eventually when it hits 7 figures, it's probably good to set up an LLC. So how do you set up an LLC? An LLC is a limited liability company. Now, the 2 reasons why I stress someone should get that after they get the couple deals is, first of all, you'll have the money to pay for it. Second of all, it's probably $150 at most in the state of Florida to really create one. You go to sunbiz.org, create one. And really the most important part of it, again, I'm saying this a million times, don't sue me, bro. I'm not a lawyer, but an LLC will protect you if you do something stupid, wholesaling. You can't be personally liable unless they pierce the corporate veil. Again, I'm not going to get really complicated with you guys on this. You'll be more legally protected. You could protect you and your family and your family's assets if you keep the corporation in an LLC. So what I do recommend, just go create the LLC. So in my opinion, if you're making about $30,000 or less in net profits per year in real estate wholesaling and you do over 2 deals a year, I would say you should get an LLC. Now, an LLC will protect you there, but most importantly, an LLC will give you the ability to write things off. So, for example, if you spend $1,000 a month in real estate wholesaling in your marketing costs, if you don't have an LLC, you have to do after tax on that. So what do I mean? So let's say I make $100,000 a year in real estate wholesaling. That's awesome, right? So if I make $100,000 a year in real estate wholesaling and I'm spending $12,000 marketing for that, that means at the end of it, I'll net about $88,000. And for extremely easy math, let's say we're being taxed at 10%. It's probably 20 to 30%, but let's say for easy numbers. At the end of that, if I didn't have an LLC, I have $100,000 of taxable income. And that would be taxed at the 10%. Now, what if I could write that off? So with an LLC, gotta do some tax paperwork, but that $12,000 of expenses, I would only owe the $88,000 of income. Now, that's a $12,000 difference. And honestly, if you have to pay self-employment tax, so basically Social Security, Medicare, that's 15.3% plus an extra 10%, you're almost saving $3,000 a year in taxes by just creating an LLC. And there's so much more to taxes than that, but that's just very quickly the difference if you have those two things. So definitely getting the LLC will help you save some more money, and eventually you can use that money for your marketing. Now, once you start making more, so let's say you hitting 110,000, 100,000 plus, all the way eventually to probably 150, possibly $175,000. I don't recommend getting a C corporation. I actually recommend getting an S corporation. And I used to have an S corporation before I was making over that, and it really was really beneficial for me. And during the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, I really got a good benefit of it. The reason why I say you get an S corporation, not straight to the C corporation, is because there's a specific section in there called Section 199A. And basically Section 199A lets you deduct 20% of your qualified business income. Now, guys, before you do any of this tax stuff, again, I recommend you get a CPA, an accountant, lawyers. They can explain this and they'll do your taxes for you way better. I'm just trying to explain things and really show you the difference between them, as much knowledge as I can give you. But again, I'm not a tax attorney. So that will give you about a 20% deduction on most of your income and most of your revenue. So if you make $100,000 per year, you could write $20,000 off of that. And that's pretty amazing. And you can also write off your marketing expenses on top of that and other expenses you have. And that could really help you save a lot of taxes. But the unfortunate part about that 199A is if you're making over $157,000 per year, you will not be able to get that. And if you're married and let's say your spouse might not work, then that 199A deduction can actually bump up if you're married to $315,000. Now, about over $300,000, then you should get the C corporation. That'll give you the light. That will help you pay the least amount of tax possible, especially in Florida where you're at. Maybe you're in California, that might have to bump up to $400,000, but really overall, the C corporations, when you start getting the big leagues, $400,000 to $300,000 plus per year, hit the 7-figure wholesaling, 7-figure house flipping, things like that, you definitely need to get that. So those are the structures you should do legally on creating the corporation. And yes, for the S corporation, the C corporation, you actually have to pay yourself W-2 wages. Don't get overwhelmed when I'm saying all this information. Trust me, paying maybe $500 to $1,000 for a tax person that could save you $20,000 to $30,000 extra is 100% worth it. They'll take the stress and all the minutia of all that stuff out for you so you don't have to do it. The only reason why I know so much about this is for the past 2 years before I partnered up with Rick, and we have tax people that do a lot of crazy stuff for us because we own so many rentals, subject twos, lease options, that we get extremely creative with our stuff. we have tax people that doing all the stuff for us. But before then, when I was doing everything myself, I actually did all the taxes myself. So I've done all these analyses and learning all the stuff myself. Now, when it comes to the other legal things in real estate wholesaling, we have to understand we definitely want to get a good probate attorney that we know, and we want to vet them, because when we're dealing with probates in real estate wholesaling, we want a really good probate attorney who can help us get through some crazy situations with probates. Always find a good attorney. Make sure one that is real estate friendly, that understands real estate. So if you're in a bind, maybe you have to make a memorandum or an affidavit of equitable interest, you have one that can protect you. You just deal with a sticky situation where you got to pay a lawyer to help you out in a real estate wholesaling deal. They're really important and they're worth their weight in gold. So I recommend you find someone like that. Another one to legally protect yourself is get the right contract. So if you go to www.flipwithrick.com/contract, that is my free one-page real estate wholesaling contract and assignment of contract on top of that. And for most states, that will legally protect you. But I do have to say, before you do any of that, you need to contact a lawyer and have them look it over and see if they approve it. So don't go out of the gate, download it, and use it legally. Legally, I have to say that. With the assignment of contract on there, that will legally help you. Again, seek a lawyer. I 100% recommend you do that before you do anything. But that assignment of contract will have the right writing in place to protect you from a greedy cash buyer trying to steal your deal. And if you can get that nice real estate attorney that we have to go after that cash buyer for trying to steal that deal, and you should be able to make a lot of money doing that. Also, if they ever try to screw you over. And lastly, having that real estate attorney will help you do memorandums and affidavit of equitable interest. I'm not going to get in there. It's a little more advanced in this video, but really they'll help you protect your deal if a seller wants to back out, especially in the state of Florida here, and you're there and you're actually ready and you have the funds actually to buy the property. And it'll actually protect your deals from a seller that wants to back out sometimes. But that's something for a real estate attorney for you to discuss with them. Lastly, if you want to create that LLC, if you're newer, the cost should be about $150, pretty low here in the state of Florida, all the way to $600 to $700 in California. So check what state you are, but most states are pretty cheap with it. If you don't want to do it or it's too overwhelming for you, I recommend something like IncFile, incfile.com. They'll help you do it. When you're creating your LLC's name, again, make it generic, but not too generic. So some of my companies is like South Florida Home Buyers or something like that. Now, you don't want to do something like if you live in Houston, don't do Houston Home Buyers. There's probably a million Houston Home Buyers there, but do something unique to your name maybe, or unique to the actual region, or Texas Family Home Properties, something a little more unique. They'll help you out with the LLCs so they don't deny your name. Make sure you file usually the registration of the business at your own home office or actually your home. You don't really need to have a fancy office to do it. And lastly, you're gonna have to create an EIN number, which you just go to the IRS and look for EIN number. Google search it, you can create one pretty easily. Once you get the LLC going, create a bank account for it so you can get the bank account and then you can write things off from there. So that's perfectly it, guys. So that is it, guys. That is how to legally set up your real estate wholesaling business. Again, if it's your first couple deals, you probably don't need one. Again, my first couple deals, I just got in my own name, but I started scaling it up and eventually going up to 7 figures. I had the LLC, I had the S corporation, and now I'm working with C corporations just because the level of income we have right now requires that. So I really appreciate you guys watching this video. And if you got any value at all from it, please smash that like button and subscribe.